Peace to us all. So let me share my last opinion on this whole traditional marriage saga between the alleged 12-year-old girl and the 63-year-old man. Now they are even coming out to tell us that the lady is 16 and not 13. So my question is, in the first place, since they knew they were going to make this ceremony open, public, and people were bound to talk, why didn't they get their own spokesperson to bring out the right information and let us understand? Maybe it's none of our business, but since we are traditional, these things concern us because we also learn from them, and make us understand that she was being dedicated to the deity, which obviously makes a lot of sense to us. And at 16, that would be okay. Because the first story we saw trending was the man is 63, she's 12, she's being betrothed to the man so that when she's 18, another ceremony will be performed, making her now a wife of the 63 years, 5 years, but then he'll be 68, so that now he can start sleeping with her and she gives birth. For me, I saw mind play, because if you don't want people to talk wrongly about whatever you are doing, you convey the message first to us. They didn't do that. All we heard was being married off. So a little education on this whole deity thing, because I've seen people writing that, oh, all this is fake. I mean, spirits don't need women to be married to them, and it's some negative energy. And because it's same about culture, like, how do you marry off a virgin girl? That means the spirit is going to chain the girl, she can't have a family. No. I remember when I first became conscious, I was well over 30 years married. I had a son, and even at that point, I didn't understand this whole thing. And my first thought was, okay, right away, I need to separate from my husband because he's Christian and traditional. We have nothing in common. It's not going to work. They even called some pastor in to come pray for me because nobody understood what I was going through. And I heard the pastor telling another person in a meeting, say, whatever is happening to this lady, we some na fano person in life na minim conphobia oko fancy memoir na brabo basa oni mema did that rough. I heard this thing and I'm thinking in my mind, is that how the spirit makes you behave when you leave church, you become conscious, or there's a stool in your house, and like maybe I couldn't find any idea. But as I went on through life, I realized that it's the misconception, misinformation, plus illiteracy of the minds of people that make things happen. I even heard somebody say or write that then the gods are weak, they are useless, slavery was going on, they couldn't stop slavery, now they see the need to marry 13-year-old girl. And I feel this all out of ignorance. One thing we should realize about these gods, first, they are not human beings, but they also have emotions like us. When I say emotions, since they are energies, they feel, they understand things. They know when things are not in alignment. I feel where all the misconceptions started is because we hate the word husband. In our culture, we have those terms to wife. And for what I know, when a woman is married to a king or chief and the king passes away, in effect, she's not just married to the man. She's married to the stool of the house because the man sits on the throne and she's aware and decided to be married to the man. So when the man passes away, the family doesn't just send her away outright. For as long as she wants to be within the family, she's a stool wife. It doesn't also mean that the new king that comes in has some sexual obligation to her. She's free to stay in the house for as long as she wants with her children, until one day she decides, okay, I found a new partner. I want to be relieved of whatever tag is on me. In that regard, ceremonies are performed before she's sent out of this home to start her new life. A lady or a young girl being married up to a deity is just dedication. Yeah, they are negative spirits, but if our culture is done right, the right spirits come in. People were being educated enough on these things. They won't be having all these misconceptions and even calling the spirits evil. Like, how do you call a deity evil? They are just energies, and they work on how we relate to them. These energies also have principles. In the first place, her mother was having difficulty giving birth to her. She had difficulty walking for 2 years. And so her mother went to the deity to ask for help for the girl. And that was the covenant she made with the deity. Say, since you are helping me restore my child, I'm going to dedicate her to you. It's as simple as that. See, no human law, human intervention can change that. Maybe the only thing, I mean, pengu, but eventually the deity is okay. Since I give to you, I'm taking my child back. You say that one to the deity is wicked. No, agreement is an agreement. It's we human beings that make agreements with ourselves. Oh, let's meet at this time. I'll give you this, and then we don't do that. But deities, when you make covenants with them in exchange for material or earthly fruit, you honor that contract, because if you don't, they have every right to take whatever they give to you. Usually these things, when they are done for you, it doesn't in any way stop you from having a normal life. Just that now you are set apart for a whole lot of things. Don't just sit anywhere and say anything, because there is some dignity on what you do, and you just have to be mindful where you sit. If you're a president, you can't just stand by the roadside, park your car somewhere. You know. So it's just a dedication to set it apart to be able to perform some roles to this deity. And one thing I also know about the deity is that they have their own codes for doing things. Recently, I visited a priestess and she told me the moment she was initiated, her period stopped. She didn't have to do anything, the thing just stopped. But anyway, those women already had about 5 children, lots of grandchildren, so it hasn't changed anything. But you realize the essence of that is the deity is working 24/7, and perhaps it doesn't want the occasion where some emergency situation comes, or she needs to send a woman to do something, and oh, I'm on my period, I can't wait for you. So I mean, he just cut her off so she can be dedicated in whatever work she was doing. So it's the same thing with a virgin girl. At that point, she hadn't had a period, she's not known a man, and we live in a culture where young girls are being introduced to pornography, young men at a very early age, to the extent that some girls can get pregnant as early as 12, 13. So once this thing is done, it's a dedication. Let's understand the word. It's not a marriage. It's dedication and initiation. It means set her apart in the whole community. If you're a young man, you dare not. Because to touch her, to joke with her, play with her, you're doing that with the deity, and Charlie, whatever comes upon you, and the wala or wala, it is dedication. See, if I had a girl child and she had to go through that kind of dedication, I'd be so happy, because most mothers, one of their fears is how to coach and guide their young daughters against sexual immorality. Like, you're even worried when she's going to have a first sexual encounter, and you may not even be aware which man is going to take advantage of her without your notice. Not join this Christian wagon, tarnish or speak bad against our own culture. Yeah, they'll do, but we that are in, let's understand. And where we see the good, we talk about it. Where we see the wrong, we also talk. This one, all I see is the good of it. Because one, she's protected. The whole community, especially the men, know. So they'll be very careful. Some respect comes on her. Whenever she feels she wants to get married, all she has to do is inform the deity. And whichever man is coming also understand these things. So it's not now they'll date way into the marriage like happened to me. And then you are conscious. Then I wonder whether you have to keep the marriage like me. You have to give a whole lot of education, because I was a Christian, and by the time I became conscious, my son was 5, and up to now he's in a dilemma. He doesn't really understand what I'm going through, and sometimes he's trying to tell me, Mom, you need to give your life to Jesus. We dialogue a little around it. Sometimes he understands, yeah, Mom, you don't really have to be a Christian, and all that dilemma is always there. But if these were things I knew from childhood, I wouldn't have to get into a Christian marriage, so I had to explain myself later. But in all things, our experiences are very different in life. Because I've had that experience, I can educate somebody. And please also understand, this is not pedophilia. There's no way the man is going to modern age, a 63-year-old man, or have an open marriage ceremony with a 13-year-old. At one point, I even saw somebody say, oh, yes, a man open and he's been abusing young girls. Maybe he is. But for this one, I am rest assured within myself that nothing like that is going to happen. The girl is going to be well protected. And even if something like that is going to happen, because we have showed our grievances, the family will be very careful. Let's hope for the positive of this whole thing and see how we can revive the best in our culture. Peace and blessings.